And welcome everyone to the Davenport Football Coaches Show. We are coming to you live from Uccello's in Caledonia as we do every Tuesday night at this time. Glad you could join us here on Facebook Live. I'm Rick Berkey. The head coach is the man of the hour. Sparky McEwen joins us as always. And tonight onto the program, we will review Davenport's second game of the year, a big win up north in Marquette in the Upper Peninsula. Davenport, a great 2-0 start. And we'll talk about that. We've got a couple of special guests of players that Sparky has brought along. Journey Sloan from the offensive side and Rob Clanton from the defensive side, two outstanding contributors to this program. We'll talk about that. Then later in the show, Sparky and I will preview this Saturday's home opener. Finally, it seems like, we haven't been home yet. So finally get a home game, and it's homecoming at Davenport this Saturday. And it'll be a special thing, 12 noon. We'll talk about that more again coming up later on in the show. But first, Spark, let's talk a little bit about Saturday's game in Marquette. You come home with a 21-7 win, and 2-0 always feels great. But when you come home 2-0 on the road, both games, that's extra special.
This early in the year, it's one of those things that, as a coach, you look at your schedule early and you see that you have a bye the first week and then you have two on the road. It really scares you because, you're in camp a little long. You don't know whether or not, you kept guys on their feet too long, you burned them out or whatever. But it looks like we played our cards the right way there with our guys, and we had two tough games on the road. And going to Lake Erie, Northeast Ohio, that team's a lot better, and you were there. You saw how tough that game was, and then all of a sudden you turn around and go all the way up to Marquette, and you beat a well-coached team, a very physical team, and I'm just happy that and proud of the boys that they're sitting at 2-0.
Yeah, a lot of teams have had two home games already, and not only have you had two road games, but two long away road games, one about a 5-hour trip, one about a 7-hour trip from Grand Rapids, but you came home with W's both times. Let's talk a little bit about the game in Marquette. You needed a good start. You always want a good start in any game, but you needed one on the road especially, and your quarterback, DeAndre Ford, and your wide receiver, Nate Couturier, got you off to that good start very early.
First and 10 for DU. DeAndre Ford again is going to put it up in the pocket. He'll step up. He goes long down the right sideline, and it is caught by Couturier. 10-5 down at the 3-yard line. A beautiful ball from DeAndre Ford to Nate Couturier, and he is just tackled just before he dove into the end zone. He's down. Let's see where they spot him. About the 3-yard line.
And that's where he was at the 3, and boy, that was a big pickup for you guys.
Well, you've been with me for a while now, Rick. We've known each other, but I've always been, as a head coach, a defensive-minded person, and whenever we win the toss, we always play defense first. We were really afraid of Northern Michigan, okay, to the point where I feel comfortable enough that, and I talked to you about our defense. We've still been wondering what type of defense we're going to have here, and we're still in the process, but I'm comfortable enough with my offense that we took the ball first on the opening flip, because last year, if you recall, we deferred and Northern Michigan went on an 11-minute drive to open that game up. And
I remember that.
I did not want to see that happen again because I knew, that Coach Nystrom had a very, very tough offense, a very physical offense. So talk to the coaches and talk to the men and say, hey, we're going to take the ball. We're going to take the ball and let's see how far we can go with it. And it worked out great. We opened up with a score. And,
well, you got it down to the 3-yard line, and then this happened.
Nate had a 49-yarder last week, an even bigger one here. Davenport trying to punch it in. Michael Ketching behind Ford in the backfield. First and goal. They'll give it to Ketching into the center of the line. He plows to the goal line. Touchdown, Davenport! Michael Ketching's first touchdown of the season is from 3 yards out, and the Panthers score less than 3 minutes into this first quarter.
And it was good for Michael to get into the end zone. He's done a lot for your program and hasn't scored much, but boy, I tell you what, he had a big day.
Ketchings is one of those guys that, once again, he was nominated as a captain this year. I couldn't be happier for Michael. And, he's a very selfless guy. He's a guy that comes to work every day. He's got a smile on his face. He keeps everyone motivated. And, he, like I said, once again, he's a team guy. So seeing him score, he had a big game. He had a big game for us, and he's a big back, and we needed that out of him.
And he wasn't done yet contributing. He contributed some nice runs in the second and third quarter. Early fourth quarter, it's 14-0. It's still a two-score game. It's anybody's ball game, and catching really put things away early in the fourth quarter.
Gives on the handoff to Catching. Breaks through to 50. Michael Catching, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Davenport! Michael Catching from 53 yards out, and the Panthers have a 3-score advantage.
And that was a big one because that really gave you a little room to breathe.
Well, that was huge. It was quite the chess match going on between both staffs at that point in time, and it was one of those deals where we knew going in that big plays could play a part in the eventual outcome of this game, and we happened to catch them in the right scheme because they were really, really tough on us in the run game, and we were able to slice it down the middle. And Catchings used that high school all-state speed as a track guy to score.
All right, I'm going to give you some stats here and just have your reactions to them because I know they were important ones in this game. First of all, rushing. You outrushed them 145-52.
Which was big. It was huge because going into that game, we really felt that they were the better rushing team just because of the scheme that they run. We have a very nice scheme we run, but theirs is a little more consistent as far as their structure and what they like to do. But we have some talent in the right places, and if you give us a seam, we got guys like Catchings that are able to take it all the way.
And an interesting stat compared with another one is you outgained them total yardage 335-206, even though they won the time of possession war.
Yeah, but once again, it kind of works, hand in hand. If you're a team that can really rush the football, last year they finished second in our league in rushing, and we finished second in our league in time of possession. So we knew it was going to be one of those type of games, but we also felt like the team that could actually make the most big plays would be the one that could possibly win this game.
I think one of the quietest contributors you had so far, maybe not to the team, not to the coaching staff, but I think to the general fan, doesn't really appreciate the job that your new punter, Kyle Wojan, has done. He averaged 38.5 yards a punt on 5 punts Saturday. For the season now, he's averaging 37.5 yards and no semblance of big returns coming back on you.
No, he's cool. He's cool under pressure, and he's a true freshman, and that makes me feel good as a coach knowing that the next 3.5 years, a little more than 3.5 years, that, we've gotten better at that spot. Rick, that has been an area where we lost a punter 2 years ago that was going to have a good career here, but he went on to move on and wanted to get out of football. But other than that, landing this young man, Kyle, he's done a wonderful job for us.
All right, third down conversions, 5 out of 17, not bad, not great, but fourth down conversions, 3 out of 4, and they were all big ones.
Yeah, I think that has to do a little bit with me in practice. I've been really focusing on fourth downs, and in the meantime, you're suffering another area, third downs. We've struggled on the year, so we're trying to get better there, and we've gone back to look at video to see, what are we doing on third downs? What type of plays are we calling? What works best for our kids? And it's early in the year, and it's all work in progress.
And one of those fourth downs I want to get your comments on because I thought it was huge in the game. DeAndre Ford, who threw for 184 yards and no interceptions again. On a third down play, as you were inside the red zone, he was tackled on a play just a couple yards short of the first down, but his helmet came off, and by rule, he had to come out of the game. That forced you to put Hayden Majeski, your veteran backup quarterback, into the game cold, has not played, in this situation yet. And you not only put him in, but you ran an option with him that it turned into a big first down.
Absolutely. Hayden will tell you that if he actually had a chance to do it all over again, he probably would have scored a touchdown on that play.
By keeping it?
By keeping it.
Okay.
He's a very unselfish player, and Hayden does everything that we ask of him. He does a wonderful job for us, and on that particular play, I've got experience in with Hayden. I know what Hayden can do, and we're not afraid to do a lot of outside the box thinking with him. He came in, he executed a play, and he did what he was supposed to do.
I mentioned to you before the broadcast, I can't help but get favorites, and I got a bunch of them on this team, but I got a new one. Marquion First Down Johnson, I'm calling him now because it seems, I know at least he caught 4 balls Saturday, and in the opening game, every catch he made gave us a first down, and a couple of them did Saturday. He seems like a good go-to guy in a third down situation.
He's a go-to guy on every down, but unfortunately, we got some more guys that we can get the balls to, and I think you're going to see this young man emerge as one of our top guys to go to. He's got great size, he's got great speed. He does another great job in route running, and he's a great locker room guy. So MJ, him being a new addition to our ball club, because I told you, Rick, last year at the conclusion of the year, I needed to get bigger on the perimeter at receiver so they can help us in blocking and so they can help us downfield making 50-50 catches.
And although he doesn't enter into the bigger category, Cody Blankenberg had a nice game for you, including a catch when she was totally horizontal to the playing field, fully extended for a grab.
Yeah, he's another young man that he played as a true freshman last year, and coming back this year, now we're able to use him as a value guy, because here's a guy that played running back in high school, and last year we converted him into a slot receiver. Now we're playing him at at both positions, so he's a value guy for us. He gives us that extra punch in there. It's very electric. He's smaller and he's extremely quick. With our big line now, it's hard to see him behind that line.
All right, hey Spark, why don't you go get some Uccello's Pizza here? We've got a couple of player guests that you brought along. We want to get to them, so we welcome you again. We are at Uccello's of Caledonia. We're here Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. Great specials throughout the week, but Tuesday night, come on out. You might even get free tickets to the next home game, which is this Saturday, the home opener, homecoming day at Davenport, this Saturday at 12 noon against Lindenwood from Missouri. Their little their school, D2 school, a little northwest of St. Louis. So you don't know much about them, but we'll talk about them more in the second part of the program. Right now, though, we are joined by our first player guest of the night, Journey Sloan, a sophomore, or a junior rather, on the team. Young man that I certainly saw cover in East Grand Rapids High School, where you had a nice high school career. And Journey, we welcome you to the show. Let's talk a little bit about your time with East Grand Rapids High School and how you think it prepared you for Davenport, both as a player and as a student.
I think it prepared me pretty well. I played under Peter Sturzman. He was a really good coach.
I know Stirs well, of course.
Yes,
great guy.
Yes, sir. He prepared us for a lot. He made sure we were very disciplined on the field and off the field, that being school and football, academics, and that's something that Sparky preaches also. So it really prepared me, and it made it easier for me when going into college. Sparky preaches it, so it's like it's a mirror image of what happened in high school, and it's amazing to see a mirror image of it happening, because it makes you think that it's very true and it's very real to do these things. So it's prepared me pretty well.
Journey, of course, a 3-year all-conference player in high school. Now he's had a couple years, played in 7 games your first year and caught 5 passes. You played in all 11 games last year, including a couple starts. But with Sparky's and Coach Pertill's offense, you guys are shuffling receivers in and out all the time. Does that make it tougher for you when you're coming in and out like that?
No, sir. It actually keeps you, we call them fresh legs. And we have a lot of great guys, so it's easy for us, and it makes it better for us, because we have a lot of guys that have, like I said, fresh legs, and we have very competitive guys. So it's not, we don't look at it as a selfish way. We play together.
Now, Journey Sloan, it's not spelled like Journey. Give us the story behind your first name. It's an unusual first name.
Yes, sir. My parents always said before they had me, they always believed that I was going to go on a journey. I was always going to travel. I was always going to go somewhere. I was going to be somebody.
Okay.
And
but they didn't spell it that way.
They didn't spell it that way. They wanted it to be unique, and I love it.
All right, fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the game Saturday. Again, I was telling Coach, yeah, it's great to be 2-0, but to win 2 on the road, far away from home, that's extra special, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's very special. We had to face a lot of adversity, but we overcame it. It was a mindset we had. You know, we had to go into each game focusing on each game, each team, knowing they were tough teams, and we were just focused.
All right, Journey, finally, you're a sport management major.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you'd maybe like to do after your Davenport days are done.
You know, I have aspirations to play football, one. Plan B, I would like to be a coach. Speak, you know, talk shows, stuff like this.
Okay. High school or college level coaching? Are you thinking either way? Or?
Any level, and then reach to the highest level. You know what I mean? So,
well, you know, your high school coach is now a college coach.
Yes,
You'll be knocking on his door, maybe.
Maybe one day. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great, Journey. You're doing a great job. You're a great representative of this program, and we look for big things for you down the road.
Thank you.
Good having you
here. Thank you for having me.
Journey Sloan, our first player guest, and we look for him, of course, this Saturday, Davenport home in the home opener against Lindenwood from Missouri, Saturday at 12 noon. You can get tickets at dupanthers.com. Mark, always get that, dupanthers.com. And if you are going, folks, again, parking is so limited there at the Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex that you really need to park on the main campus. They have free shuttle buses that run throughout before the game, during the game, after the game. You can park there for free. They'll pick you up, take you around. They have a separate route that avoids the traffic at the stadium, drops you right at the front door, then picks you up after whenever you want to come out. They have shuttles running throughout the game, and afterwards they'll take you right back to your car again, free of charge. So take advantage of that this Saturday in every home game. Our next player guest is Rob Clanton. Robert Clanton, young man from Muskegon who I was familiar with his outstanding high school career at Orchard View High School. He joins us right now. And we'll ask you a little bit about your high school days. You had a very fine program at Orchard View.
Yeah.
And tell us how that prepared you for your time at Davenport.
Back in high school, I had a really good coach. His name is Joe Tannis. He was a great leader and a mentor for me. He preached to me all the time about being a good person in general, besides outside of football. So being a good man, I learned a lot from Coach Tannis doing that.
It's something special, the influences you have, like coaches, and that there's somebody that that teach you those life lessons of that as well. Hey, I think Orchard View is 4-0 this year, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, they're off to a great start once again. Now, this is your senior year here.
Yes, sir.
You certainly contributed last year as a junior. You played in all 11 games. You had 8 tackles against Saginaw Valley State, a huge game. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And you had 3 tackles for loss against Grand Valley State. So kind of assess your junior year last year, how you would assess your own play.
Towards those big games, I felt that I needed to do my job and just stick to the game plan, and the coaches put me in position to make those plays. It's always fun going against big teams, and I love those games because it sets the tone.
Rob Clanton, our guest here on the Davenport University Coaches Show, and he's off to a great start on that defensive line. 2 games so far. He's got 8 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks. Those are all great numbers, but I got a feeling those 3.5 sacks feel better than the other ones, don't they?
Yeah, I love getting home.
When you get home, a lot of folks don't realize, though, when you make a sack, your fellow linemen usually were a big part of that, right?
Yeah, we have really good. I have really good teammates surrounding me. I have Mika, Malik, Abe. We have a really good 2D lineman too. We all rotate and we all play a big part in each other's roles.
In our opening Davenport Coaches Show of the season, I talked with Sparky about you, and here's why I want your reaction to this. I said, Robert Clanton showed last year that he can be really a contributor, but with the losses you had on your D-line going into this year, you had to raise your game to another level, right?
Yes, sir.
And how did you approach that, knowing that a lot of those big, beefy, skilled guys weren't going to be around you?
Well, how to approach it, I feel like the defensive line sets the tone to a defense. So I just would preach to our guys during practice. We have to attack, we have to be physical, and we have to set the tone, be a man. And I feel like all of our guys, we kind of got that. We got the same mindset, to go out and play, all to the wall, and that helps us be pretty good too.
Rob, you're majoring in business administration. Tell us what you'd like to do with that degree when you're done with college.
Well, hopefully me and my brother got something in mind. I don't want to.
You got a new business you're building, huh?
Me and my brother, I have a twin brother, Bobby Clinton.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it's top secret.
All
right, but before the end of the year, I want you to tell me about it because I'm excited. I'd like to share it with the fans what it is. Was this something you guys hope to spring as soon as you're done with college?
Yes, sir.
How old is your brother?
I have a twin.
He's a twin,
yeah.
So I guess he's the same age as you.
Yep.
Just a wild guess. Actually, who's the older?
I am 21 minutes.
21 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, that makes you smarter than him, right?
Nah, he's pretty smart.
All right, we look forward to that as well. Let me ask you this though, Rob. Where do you have to get better as a player?
Where do I have to get better as a player is playing 110% every play. I feel, it's a difference between being a great player and a good player. Is good players that make plays every once in a while, and a great player is trying to make that play every play.
All right, well, you're off to a great start. You and Journey, thanks for coming out to Uccello's. They still have some more pizza for you over there, so head down and have that, okay?
All right, sweet.
Good to see you, bud. All right, that is Robert Clanton, again, doing a great job. Those numbers, those are just 2-game numbers so far for Rob. 8 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, 5 TFLs, tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks already here in this very young season. Davenport, we gave you the numbers, defeating Northern Michigan 21-7 in that opening game up in Marquette. And they'll take that sparkling 2-0 record into the non-conference game against Lindenwood this Saturday in the home opener at 12 noon at Davenport. Coach McEwen joins us back up. And one of the things I didn't mention about that game before we get on to Lindenwood, Coach, is that it's not only 2-0, but you're 1-0 in the conference. They got a great conference win.
That was a huge win in the conference, and in this conference, as you know, it's extremely, extremely tough to get wins. When you're playing the likes of, Grand Valley, Ferris State, Ashland, Saginaw Valley, those teams, they make it tough on you. And each week, you got to line up. Each week, you got to be at your best. Can't turn the ball over. Can't have discipline penalties. It's really a tough conference to win in, especially on the road.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Lindenwood now. Comes to town from Missouri, again, just a little northwest of St. Louis. A little too far out to call it a suburb of St. Louis. But they switched plays this year, switched conferences this year. They were in the MIAA, not the one here in Michigan, but the MIAA down there, and they're now into the Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Yeah, it's, MIAA is one of the conferences that is considered one of the toughest ones in the country, along with the GLIAC. Northwest Missouri comes to mind. That's where Lindenwood competed in that conference for, a number of years, so they've been playing football actually since 1990. So very tough conference, but they moved now since to the GLVC, and they were voted to pick, they were picked to finish number 2 in the conference.
A very good representation for them. 1-2 on the season, but one of the things I know you've already seen in film, you probably have been looking at them for a little bit, is they have got a quarterback, Cade Brister, just a sophomore. Last year as a freshman, Sparky, Cade averaged 17 carries a game, also threw the ball a fair amount, but this year he's not only leading the team in passing as the quarterback should, but he's also leading them in rushing.
Well, as you can remember, I've had, I'm familiar with a kid that did that by the name of Jason Vanderlaan up at Ferris State. So, and when you watch him play, their styles are different, but what remains the same is the fact that, he's getting a lot of touches as a playmaker. They'll throw the ball around 40 to 50 times, and he'll still, have 15 to 20 carries. So whenever you have a dual threat quarterback, it could truly hurt you. We're going to have our hands full on defense, and, our guys are still there in the office right now trying to figure out what are we going to do to slow them down, to contain them, because there's absolutely no way you can stop a player in this type of scheme. Coach has done a great job of putting together a good scheme for this kid to run their offense.
You use the key word contain there, because when you get a guy like that, and you've seen them through your years, what they can do to a defense once they get outside in open space can break down everything you put into that play.
Absolutely, because in schemes, most schemes, you don't account for the quarterback, not that way at least. So, we got our hands full, but it's going to be one of those games where the least amount of mistakes that a ball club can make, or whether it be discipline penalties and special teams and things like that, those would be the teams that come out as the victor, because this team here, they played an FCS powerhouse, and then they just lost to a top 15 team in the country in Midwestern. If you go back and do your research on Midwestern, I'll guarantee they're going to be a top 10 team year in and year out. So, and then they just beat William Jewell. So we're going to have our hands full, and a lot of sleepless nights for me in preparation for Lindenwood.
You mentioned avoiding the mistakes. Well, you got certainly some encouragement from that last Saturday. 0 turnovers, and more importantly, no fumbles after losing 3 in the opener.
Yeah, we lost a number of fumbles in that first ball game. We talked to Ford, and those fumbles, that was my fault. We had new balls in there, and we didn't break them in properly, and they still had that slick film on them. So the ball was, coming out. It's uncharacteristic. You saw them this week. We didn't put it on the turf not once. So there was a huge error, on our football operations side of things. And
educate me on that, Coach. How do you break the ball in?
Well, I don't like to give up all my secrets to that, because we've done a pretty good job of it. But typically what you want to do is, you want to get into play, into practice, and get it beat up, because it has that slick film on it, right from the manufacturers. You want to get it out there. Sometimes you can soap and water with a hard brush, and then you can put it in a dryer, things like that. And, just to get that newness off of it. But there's nothing better than just putting it into practice a couple weeks early and letting the boys throw it around, kick it around a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of casual fans don't realize that when your team has the ball, they use their own football. So
that is true.
One team can have one type of ball, the other can have another type of ball. That's the kind they're used to playing with, and it's their own preference. They can choose what they want. All right, when you play a team from this far away, let's talk a little bit about an advantage or disadvantage. Again, I guess you both have the same disadvantage in not being that familiar with each other's program. But again, there's all kinds of tape out there, right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of tape. Like I told you before, Rick, it's a small fraternity, and we've shared tape with them. And these guys, they know what our schemes look like, and they know who our personnel is. And you only have so long to prepare. It's tough on us from the standpoint, we haven't seen an offense like this in our conference, okay? We haven't seen a dual threat quarterback like this. Ferris State's quarterback's a dual threat guy, but you're talking about a team now that lives and die with the pass, okay? And you have a young man that's pulling a trigger for him, that's not afraid to pull it down and take off and get the necessary yards for a first down, or maybe even take it in for a score. So playing a dual threat guy, and you see it all over the FBS now. Most of your guys, even the NFL, they're starting to go more to dual threat quarterbacks.
We could mention that it's not only the home opener this Saturday, but it's homecoming at Davenport. And I remember even before you were here, when they started this football program, this was part of the dream. Not to just have a football team, but to have a homecoming when alums can come, and it's a gathering point for current students and former students to get together for homecoming, and it just makes it that much more special.
It is. That's one thing about the tradition here in America, is that when you have a collegiate university football team, there's this thing they call homecoming. Everyone gets to come home and visit with alumni and enjoy, the university atmosphere, the student body. It's really a good time, and unfortunately for us, it's just a little more to that, and we got to play the game, so there's a lot of distractions that comes with playing in homecomings, and as a coach, you got to have a fine line there. You want to make sure your guys' focus is definitely on the ball game, but at the same time, you want to respect the fact that we're celebrating our homecoming and alumni coming home. So there's definitely a fine line to it.
And that homecoming is this Saturday at 12 noon at the Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex. Again, you can get tickets at dupanthers.com. Get out there, watch the game. It should be a very exciting one. All indications are it should be a close contest, and so looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather stays good, but if it doesn't, you'll be ready to go. Yeah.
It looks good so far. Rick, one other thing I want to tell you is that we've kicked off our annual raffle ticket fundraiser.
Yes.
So, for our fans that's out there, please go online, and you're able to simply go on, click on one of the links there. It takes you right to a secured site where you can purchase a $20 raffle ticket, as many as you would like, and give yourself a chance to win cash prizes. We've been very, very successful with this, Rick, very successful, and it's helped our young men. It's helped our young men when we go on the roads. We eat like kings. We treat our boys right. Davenport treats us right, and our parents take good care of us and our fan base. So let's continue to get the support from not only our alumni, but friends and family as well.
So, to purchase raffle tickets online, just go to dupanthers.com, go to the football program, and you'll see this place there where you can get raffle tickets. And that we've talked with Sparky before about the things they're allowed to do. He mentioned during the season, but we talked in the opening show about being able to take the guys to that special camp beforehand, and that's where the money comes from those type of raffle things like that.
Absolutely, the leadership camp, because at the end of the day, our guys are there to get their degree, and then we're also teaching these guys just about life skills that's going to carry on with them throughout their careers. So this raffle has just been amazing. It has truly been amazing for us, and we're going to keep this thing going, and we're looking to break the record that we set last year. And through our loyal fans and supporters, if you can just go on to our website, follow that link, click on it. It's a secured site, and purchase as many raffle tickets as you need. Now, with that being said, we'll have the drawing our last home game. You do not have to be present to win in this competition here. So the more help we can get on this, the better.
All right, so go to that as well. That'll wrap up tonight's version of the DU Panthers Football Coaches Show from Uccellos of Caledonia. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, so always tune us in at Facebook Live. Come on out and join the fun. We got a lot of Panther fans here enjoying the evening's festivities at Uccellos. Again, that'll wrap it up tonight. For Coach Sparky McEwen, I'm Rick Berkey saying thanks for joining us, and go Panthers!